Welcome to another round of SDH's coverage of the USL Championship. We'll take a look back at the week that was, get you ready for the weekend that will be. Special guest running the anchor leg this week. San Diego Loyal coming into the weekend are unbeaten in their last 8 after starting out 0-4. Jack Metcalf from San Diego Loyal joins us. A lot of name that's familiar to a lot of Atlanta United 2 fans. We get to catch up with Jack and his move out to San Diego and how things have been this season after the rough start and how things are for them right now. Second in the West. And we'll take a look at everything that is going on in the USL Championship. So let's take a peek at the schedule and get you reacquainted with how things were last week and get you ready for how things will be this week. Let's go back to last Thursday. OCSC knocking off Colorado Springs at Widener 2-0. Friday on the 2nd, Red Bulls 2, the D Miami FC end up with a 1-1 draw. Tampa Bay with a 1-0 win at Al-Lang over Charleston. Lou City puts 4 on Sporting Kansas City 2 at Children's Mercy Park. And the big Oklahoma derby with the OKC Energy and FC Tulsa ended up in a goalless draw. Last Saturday, Birmingham Legion, goal by Nico Brett, his 7th on the year, knocks off Indy 11 at the Mike 1-0. Pittsburgh beats Charlotte 1-0. San Diego Loyal and Sacramento Republic, a 1-1 draw. We talked to Jack Metcalf about that as well. Atlanta United 2 fights back, being down 2-0, come back for a 2-2 draw against Memphis 901 FC at Fifth Third Bank Stadium. San Antonio and Austin. Austin gets a 1-0 win on the road at Toyota Field. The match that we'll focus on from last weekend at Southwest University Park, El Paso Locomotive and New Mexico United. What happened in this one? It was a shocking moment about a minute apart that made the difference for El Paso Locomotive. Here's your highlights, courtesy of our friends at the USL Championship and YouTube.
Just about ready to start things up tonight in this 9th meeting of the Derby del Camino Real. We are underway from Southwest University Park. Trying that cross, Brown lays it off, but Richie Ryan clears it off the line. Bounces United's way, having a go. Logan Keller called into action. Good turn by Tenari. Here is Suggs. Sandoval will flick it in, nice to Brown, trying on the volley. Doesn't bounce his way. Are about to hit the 41st minute here in El Paso, Texas. Italy Brown rolls it through and it's in. 41st minute goal. Brown delivers it low and the drive fools Ketterer, screened off from the play. United takes the lead in the 41st here in El Paso.
Driven shot right down to the corner. Ketterer, he was almost there, but that ball was so well placed. It's a tough one, especially when you got your line of defense in front of you.
Cleared off the line. Suggs a good bounce as well. Nice takeaway, right place, right time. It's Ross having a go! In for the goal, Dylan Maris! Just like that! 56th minute goal from El Paso's number 10, who earns his first this season.
Strike into the back of the net, on frame in the corner. The keeper just cannot get it. It dips and hits the turf right when he might have a chance to get it. What a strike. But Ryan and Ross locking down a play right up just behind midfield, you know, to keep that alive and keep it going forward.
Great work to step into that one by Ross again, who starts this. Luna leaving for Ross. Rebellon is onside. Will have a go. Touch Tenari. The rebound goal. It's Dylan Maris. A brace in the span of a minute and a half. 2-1 Locomotive FC.
A ball across, keeping it alive, and a finish by Maris. Oh. Yeah, and we've talked about the keeper coughs up the rebound, and he's got Luna pressuring him, and then there is Maris.
We are past the 95. Last service, Azira. Knotted by Sandoval over the back line, and that's it! Come from behind win. 3 straight losses for United. Locomotive back in the winning track.
Thanks again to the USL Championship and YouTube and our friend Duke Keith, friend of the network, on the call there with that particular match with El Paso and New Mexico United. We'll get into the standings in just a little bit. Also out west, Vegas Lights get a win over Tacoma Defiance 1-0. Phoenix Rising puts 3 on Los Dos at the Rising Soccer Complex to win that one and get full points. Sunday, July 4th, 2 matches. Hartford Athletic on the road beat Loudoun United at Segra 2-0. Colorado Springs on a quick turn beats Real Monarchs 3-1 at Widener. OCSC and Tacoma Defiance, a goalless draw back on Tuesday. Wednesday, July 7th, Charleston Battery and Pittsburgh Riverhounds. This one actually got moved up to 4 o'clock because of Tropical Storm Elsa at Patriots Point. Charleston Battery and Pittsburgh Riverhounds share points by the end of it, a 1-1 draw. Charlotte Independence down 1-0, took a 2-1 lead, end up losing 3-2 to Red Bulls. And if you haven't seen the goal by Dane Kelly, take a look at it in the highlights. Atlanta United 2, Indy 11, a 1-1 draw. Connor Stanley, the equalizer in the 73rd for a very, very thin Atlanta United 2 side. The Miami FC knocks off Tampa Bay 2-1 at FIU Soccer Stadium. Austin Bold on the campus of the Circuit of the Americas tie Rio Grande Valley 1-1. Sacramento Republic and Oakland Roots, they are goalless in their match from Wednesday, July the 7th. Let's take a peek at the standings and how things are, and we'll get you caught up with Jack Metcalf as well as before we get you into the weekend. In the Atlantic Division, Tampa Bay up on top with 24 points. Pittsburgh, they are unbeaten in 4 of their last 5. They're down at 21. The Miami FC, they've won 2 of their last 3. They're at 17 points. Hartford Athletic at 16. Charlotte Independence, they've lost 3 in a row. They're now 15 points below the playoff bar. Charleston, they are 12 points in 9 matches. Red Bulls 12 points in 12 matches. And Loudoun United at 2 and 8 are at the bottom of the Atlantic Central Division. Birmingham, they've won 4 of their last 5. They're at 22 points. Lou City, they are unbeaten in their last 5. They're at 20. FC Tulsa's at 16 points. Indy 11 is at 15. Atlanta United 2 with 2 draws at 14 points ahead of OKC Energy on goal difference. Sporting Kansas City 2. They've lost 4 of their last 5. And Memphis 901 FC, they have lost 3 of their last 5. They're at 9 points in 8th place. Western Conference, Mountain Division, we know this one's going to be crammed together all season long. RGV on top with 21 points. El Paso at 18. Colorado Springs at 17. Austin Bold at 16. New Mexico United, they've lost 3 in a row. They're at 14 points. San Antonio FC is at 12. And Real Monarchs is at 10 with a record of 2, 6, and 4. Pacific Division, Phoenix Rising at 22 points. They've won 3 of their last 4. Orange County SC, they're at 18 points ahead of San Diego Loyal on goal difference at 18 points each. And LA Galaxy has lost 4 of their last 5. They're at 12 points, but they are in the final playoff spot if the playoffs were to start today. Tacoma is below the playoff bar at 12 points. Vegas Lights, after a rough start, they're now at 3, 6, and 1 at 10. Sacramento Republic, they've lost 3 of their last 5, 2 points in their last 5 matches. And Oakland Roots plays 7 matches so far this season with the early cancellations and the early catch-up that they're going to have to do. They are at 6 points. So in the Pacific Division, we talked about San Diego, and after their rough start, they're unbeaten in their last 8. The anchor leg this week. Good to catch up with Jack Metcalf and find out everything going on in San Diego with the Loyal. All right, Jack. So what's been the difference? I mean, you look at the standings in the West, and it was a rough start, and now unbeaten in your last 8. I guess let's take it, one half at a time. What was it like going through those first 4 matches?
Yeah, look, I think we had we all felt pretty good about our preseason. But as everybody knows, preseason, and the regular season's completely different. So I think as we move through the first 4 games, we knew we had it tough. Playing away from home, 4 games on the road, and it's turned out that 3 of those teams, Phoenix, Louisville, and RGV have had great starts to the season and look pretty strong. So I think, looking back at it now, the first 4 games, we probably felt like we should have won, if not at least got a point out of a couple of those games, RGV and Tacoma. So, honestly, we took the positives from that. And and we kept working hard and things started to finally click. And not too similar to dissimilar from last year, where we got off to a bit of a rocky start, but then, you know, we trusted in what we're doing. You know, we didn't change, and we kept at it, and things finally started to work out.
All right, so you've given me a sub question inside of a subsequent question.
Yeah.
So let's go back to last year a little bit. How rough was it last year battling everything around you and trying to be a professional athlete and make sure that San Diego could be as successful as it was as a team? How difficult was it last year?
Yeah, I think, you know, everyone involved in sport and you know, everyone just in general was, you know, last year was tough. But then, you know, we had, you know, so many different things that we went through as a team that it made us really strong. So, you know, once we got towards the final part of the season, you know, we felt that whatever game, whatever circumstances were thrown at us, that we'd get through it as a team. And it was definitely tough. And I think, you know, now when you look back at it, and now when you've got fans in the crowd, and, you know, it seems like a normal season again. I think you can only look back and be like, you know what, it was a challenge, but one that made us grow as a club, and one that made us grow as a team. And you know, a lot of returning guys that, you know, had to go through all those things that were thrown at us, and yeah, we got through it, and it definitely helped us. And you know, I think we can always, you know, fall back on those things, you know, if we go through certain rough patches this year.
So then you get through the first 4 this year, and now you're unbeaten in your last 8.
Yeah.
What's it been like to be on a roll like this? I mean, this is a run that's been pretty solid, and, you know, obviously confidence for you guys is pretty high, but what's it been like to be on a roll like this after those first 4?
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously it started with our win in Vegas, and against Vegas at home. And I think for a lot of the guys and the club as a whole, the front office staff, it was fantastic to see fans back out at Torero Stadium, and, you know, to feel that energy and the atmosphere that the fans have created for us is something that gives us, honestly, a real lift. You know, last year I felt like we had games at home where if we would have had fans there and that little bit of an extra boost, then we would have had even better results at home last year. But that's what started it off. And yeah, we've just been, you know, taking it game by game. And I don't think anyone in the club or any players are like, oh, it's you know, we're 5 unbeaten, we're 6 unbeaten. You know, we've got a lot of tough games in our division. And we're taking it game by game. I mean, we've played Phoenix 3 times already. You know, we played OC, we played LA, and I think we were just taking it game by game, and whatever challenges we faced, we've been able to overcome them. And, you know, obviously we leave the weekend a little bit disappointed with how it finished. You know, it was a tough game. It was a physical battle, and we go 1-0 up, and I think we all felt like we should have, you know, walked away with 3 points, and for them to tie the game up with the last kick of the game was tough to take. But, you know, it's one of them. We had three games in a week. We had 7 points from that week, so we walk away happy.
You're kind of reading my notes when it comes to my next question here, but when you look at the rest of the Pacific, you're dealing with Phoenix, a team that a lot of folks sit there and, you know, when they were making their brackets out at the beginning of the season, they're like, okay, Phoenix out of the West. Then you've got OC, Orange County. You've got Los Dos, LA Galaxy 2, which is one of those second team situations that some MLS teams have. You've mentioned playing Tacoma and Vegas. You went up against Sacramento, and Oakland is in there. When you look at the rest of the Pacific, what do you see?
I think it's competitive, super competitive. You know, we've shown that we can go toe to toe and beat Phoenix. You know, other teams did that last year also. But obviously they're a strong team. So like you said, they're always going to be up there near the top. And then I think, you know, for the other playoff spots, it's going to be super competitive. You know, you mentioned OC, who are up there right now, Los Dos, who I think are sitting in 4th, but then you have Tacoma, who are a super talented team. Got lots of good young players, and, you know, then I think if you look at SAC, they've always been a successful franchise, and they've always had great players. And this year's no different. We went through a rough patch at the start, and they've been going through a little bit of a rough patch the last couple of months. So I'm sure that'll turn around. And with Oakland, they're a new team, going through some hurdles and obstacles that they're trying to, jump through and get over. And I'm sure they will, because, there's some familiar faces on their team from San Diego with Tarek and Emma, and, a lot of guys are also familiar with Akeem. So I'm sure they'll come good too. And it's the same with Vegas. Honestly, it's super competitive. They've got a lot of young talent from LA. So I think as we start to head towards the business end of the season, it's going to be super, super competitive. So, every point counts, and it's going to be a fun running.
What attracted you to San Diego in the first place? I know folks here on this side of the Mississippi River remember you with your time with Atlanta United too, but what attracted you to San Diego and wanting to be a part of that excursion out there?
Yeah, I mean, when I first heard about San Diego joining the USL, and that Landon Donovan was going to be involved, I think that's a huge attraction for any player. And it was no different to me. I looked at it as obviously it's an amazing place out in San Diego, but I looked at it as a club with Landon involved, and I looked at other guys that were involved in this club, and I thought, that's a really exciting opportunity. So when it came along, and I had a chat with Landon on the phone about what they were doing, what they were building, and their goals and the vision for the club, it was something that I just couldn't turn down. And yeah, I'm super happy that I made the jump. I obviously enjoyed my time in Atlanta. I had a fantastic two years there, and can't speak highly enough about everyone involved in that club. And the club speaks for itself in Atlanta of what they're doing with the first and the second team. So it was a super amazing opportunity, and one that I'm super, super grateful for.
What's the first lesson that Landon taught you that stuck? It could be something about, play on the field. It could be something about how to handle yourself off the field. What was the first lesson that stuck with you with him as your manager?
One thing that really stuck with me straight away was, obviously throughout his career, it was something that he's obviously had to deal with. And that's the highs and lows that soccer and football brings you. 1 week you can win 4-0, the next week, you lose. And I think one thing that Landon really, taught us and instilled in us is never get too high and never get too low. And I think that's been super important for how, our club has gone so far. I mean, after 4 games, we could have really felt sorry for ourselves, but Landon's one of those where, regardless of the result, we'll take, what we did right, what we did wrong, but you come into work with a smile on your face, and you want to get better. So, staying super even, regardless of results or regardless of form, you come to work every day and you're focused on getting better, regardless of what's going on around us. So I think that's one thing that really stuck with me from the get-go, is just how, how he is, how his demeanor is, regardless of the result. He's super even, and you come back into work every single day.
Where do you think you are as a footballer, and what do you think you still need to work on to continue to improve your game to where you're happy with it every single time you step out for 90 minutes?
Yeah, I think, to be totally honest, I think the last couple of years, towards the end of my time in Atlanta, I felt like I was playing really well. But I think I've kind of kicked on just a little bit from there. And, I think the main component of that is my consistency. I think I've been a lot more consistent the last couple of years. So that's something I've been happy about. And, there's always things I've wanted to work on. I think when I got to San Diego, one thing I really wanted to work on was like my 1v1 defending. I felt that was an area that I needed to improve on. after leaving Atlanta, and I think I've done that. But I think one thing that I would really like to do is get involved more, at the attack and third. So goals and assists is something that I think, my specific position in this team is, I'm kind of in between. I'm obviously involved in the back four defensively, but I'm allowed to go forward. So if I can chip in with goals and assists a little bit more, then I'll be happier.
So when you're at practice
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing 1v1 drills, who's the toughest guy that you have to face in drills in a 1v1 situation?
That's a great question. That's a really good question. You know what? There's a lot. There's a lot of great players. Like it would be hard to choose one, but I'll tell you a name who people in Atlanta will be really familiar with, who's really, really tough to defend against in 1v1. That's Sal Zizzo. He is super, super direct. So, and everyone knows, like, when you come up against Sal, he'll, he may not do like 4 or 5 step overs and flicks and tricks and stuff like that, but he's super hard to defend. He's so direct. He's fast and he can score. So he's one that whenever you get put against him, you're going to have your work cut out.
Okay, soccer 101 here for a second. When you're in a 1v1 situation, you're
Mm-hmm.
defending. How would you best explain to a young player, maybe someone in their teens, academy, how to best defend in a 1v1 situation so they don't get beat, they don't get the nutmeg, that they don't leave their kit over on aisle 6 with the frozen food because they're out.
Yeah.
I mean, is it something as simple as looking at the waist or looking at how are you gauging a 1v1 so you don't get burned?
I would almost, instead of focusing on the attacker, I think the golden rule for 1v1 is continuously move your feet. Don't ever get caught flat-footed, because the second that you get caught flat-footed, he'll go the opposite way, or you'll dive in, or you'll get stuck in a situation where you can't move fast enough. So I think one thing that the coaches here in San Diego continuously harp on when we do 1v1 drills is move your feet. And as long as you're moving your feet, even if you may get beat initially, you may recover, or you may get a toe on the ball. But I think that's the golden rule for 1v1s is constantly be moving, and obviously you want to angle it a certain way or push him onto his weak foot, but as long as you're moving your feet, you've always got a chance.
Last question for you, and thanks for hanging out with us this week.
Of course.
Is it coming home?
That's a great question. And you know what? I've just right before we hopped on the interview, I heard Kasper Schmeichel said, "Has it ever been home?"
Yes.
And it did make me chuckle, but you know what? I think it might be. Obviously, Italy seem to be like the favorite right now for the bookmakers and everyone watching the Euros closely. And they would be the favorites in my book too. But if you look at England, they haven't conceded a goal. They've looked solid. I think they've improved throughout the tournament. They've got better with every game, and I think it'll be hard for any team to score against England right now. Obviously you can always score a set piece or a penalty or something like that, but they look solid. So I guess time will tell, but I think it could be.
Well, I had to ask the Liverpudlian
that
before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Jack, great to catch up with you. Great to see you.
Of course.
Great things
Anytime.
are going well there in San Diego. Thanks for being a part of SDH's coverage of the USL Championship. Now, go get some lunch and go watch some games.
Thank you. You too.
Good as always to catch up with Jack Metcalf and find out what's going on out in San Diego with Landon Donovan and the Loyal. Here's your schedule for the weekend. Friday night at Isotopes Park at the Lab. New Mexico United tries to turn their fortunes around hosting Colorado Springs. Haji Berry signed a 2-year deal, so he will be with the Switchbacks for the next 2 seasons. 10 o'clock at Zion's Bank out in Harriman, Utah. Real Monarchs hosting El Paso Locomotive. Saturday, heavy slate here, so we'll run through it quick. American Legion Memorial Stadium now rehosting the Charlotte Independence. They get Phoenix Rising in an interesting crossover match at 7 o'clock. Hartford Athletic hosting Red Bulls 2 at Dillon. 7:30, Fifth Third Bank Stadium, Sporting Kansas City 2 and Atlanta United 2. Also at 7:30, Birmingham Legion hosting Memphis 901. 8 o'clock at 1 OK, FC Tulsa hosting Lou City. 8:30 at Taft, OKC Energy hosting Indy 11. 10 o'clock at Las Positas College Turf Field, Oakland Roots hosting Vegas Lights. 11 o'clock at Heart Health, it is Sacramento Republic and OCSC. Sunday, 2 matches. Segra at 5 o'clock, Loudoun United hosting the Miami FC. Out west at Dignity Health Sports Park, it is Los Dos hosting Tacoma Defiance. Monday, in a crossover, New Mexico United hosting Charleston Battery at the Lab. That'll be an interesting matchup. A lot of travel there for the Battery to get this one in on Monday night. Tuesday, the 13th, Tampa Bay is hosting Hartford at Al Lang. Wednesday, the 14th, the full slate begins anew. 4 matches. At 7:30 at Lynn Family, Lou City hosting OKC Energy. 10 o'clock, Oakland Roots hosting Phoenix at Las Positas. 10:30 at Cashman, Vegas Lights hosting Sacramento. And at Torero at 10:30, it is San Diego Loyal and Orange County SC. So that is a full slate for everything going on in the USL Championship. Once again, you can go to uslchampionship.com and you can vote on goal of the week and player of the week and save of the week, those kinds of things. Very, very cool. Don't forget to download the USL app as well. Looking at the power rankings quickly before we go. Your top 10, Lou City, Phoenix, El Paso down 2 to number 3, San Diego up to number 4, Tampa Bay up to 5, Pittsburgh down to 6, Birmingham's at 7, OCSC is at 8, RGV up 4 to number 9, Colorado Springs is at number 10. In the Central Division, FC Tulsa stays at number 12, OKC up 3 to 13. Also on the board, looking at some teams close by in the SDH footprint, Charleston down to 18th, down 1 spot. Atlanta United 2 stays at 22. Memphis 901 up to 27. Sporting Kansas City 2 down 4 to 28. And Red Bulls 2 down 1 to number 30. That is your look at everything going on in the USL Championship. Thanks to San Diego and thanks to Jack Metcalf letting us see what's going on with San Diego Loyal SC these days. If you're near a match, go check them out. It's quality football that we get to see from the USL Championship every single week. For everyone here at SDH, I'm just John. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy the games. We'll catch up with you next week.